Hi, folks. This is Sunil Chandy again, and I'm your roving reporter from Christ Church. Today is the 10th day, isn't it? Or is it the 9th day? It seems to be a blur to me.
Yeah, it's a blur.
It's a blur. But like we said at the onset of this video program, that I'll be speaking with thought leaders of our diocese, of our national church, and people who are related to our own Christ Church. And in particular today, we're so blessed to have Bishop Provenzano. And Bishop Provenzano is the Bishop of Long Island, and he is also on the Vice Chair of the Structure and Governance Committee, a legislative committee, and he has also presented a resolution that speaks to prayer book revision. And just wanted to hear your thoughts about that, Bishop.
Well, I will second what Sunil has said, that it feels like this has been going on for weeks. It feels like the longest convention ever, even though it's shorter in days. That being said, a lot of really important work is happening in this convention in a way that is surprising a whole bunch of people. I have to say that when I first thought about coming, I thought, oh, this is going to be a horrible thing, and it's going to be divisive, and it's going to be lots of arguments and all that. It has turned out that this convention is moving the church further and further in areas of reconciliation with each other. There seems to be a lot less division, a lot less conflict happening, particularly between the House of Deputies and the House of Bishops. So I'm really grateful for that and getting some energy around all of that. However, it would be nice to get more than a couple of hours sleep every night. When you're the Vice Chair of a legislative committee, the day begins a little before 7 and usually goes until about 11 o'clock at night. So Father Sunil has been trying to get me to come and do a video for Christ Church for days since we got here, and so this is the first opportunity we've had to do this. It's Thursday at lunchtime. Actually, it's a little after 1 Texas time, so it's a little after 2 back on the East Coast. I've been chairing the committee, vice chair of the committee on structure and governance, and that committee gets a lot of the resolutions that deal with how we manage ourselves between triennium and the concerns of the church around issues like inclusion of language, accessibility, the structure of how we meet. Who gets to be a part of nominating committees and all those kinds of things, all of the kind of the backroom mechanisms of how the church does its ministry. And so it's been a pretty challenging time. I think we had some 40-odd resolutions in a convention where at the last count, I believe we've dealt with some 420 resolutions that have come before convention. So it's an exciting time, but it's very tiring.
Yes.
I've only had Texas barbecue once since I've been here, and I've been here since last Sunday. So I need to catch up on my dietary needs.
I will. I have made that up for you. Don't tell Simi. So about the prayer book revision conversation, because that was a pretty animated discussion.
Yep.
And the House of Deputies it moves one way. The House of Bishops. I saw one session when I took a break from the House of Deputies and had someone substitute for me. I came up to the House of Bishops to see the conversation and the discussion, and it was really pretty powerful and wonderful.
Yeah, I think that. Clearly, at this point, we're moving toward a very expansive time for prayer book revision, and I think if we were going to have to face this anyway, doing it this thoughtful way, expanding the time frame, and having it be something that will be thoughtful. It dawned on me that I'll probably be retired as a bishop of the church, by the time the real work of this prayer book revision gets going, it'll take some 12 or 15 years.
Yes.
Before all of this really happens, and I think the inclusion of not only the some of the social justice issues that have made their way forward, and inclusive language and all of those kinds of things, but also that we take a deep dive into the theology that brought us the 1979 prayer book, with the emphasis on baptism and Eucharist.
Yes.
In our congregational settings will be the foundation, the bedrock of our moving forward. So even though I came to convention being a bit concerned about whether or not this was a good idea, I see now that the process that we may engage actually will move us forward as a church.
Yeah.
So I'm hopeful.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that was the point when about the theological emphasis of the prayer book, baptism and Eucharist. So when the 1979 prayer book came out, there was an important emphasis theologically first.
Right.
And that was one of the concerns that one of the bishops, and it resonated with me. I don't think we should just do prayer book revision because of cultural, what is it? Just
changing
cultural
norms. No, I agree.
I think it should be theologically emphasized, and so what you're saying is that if we move into the next 12 years with this idea, it'll still be theologically emphasizing baptism and Eucharist.
Baptism, Eucharist, and an expansion of the liturgies that we may use that will have a strong theological and liturgical base, rather than just based on kind of the changing social norms.
Cultural accommodation.
Okay.
That's what the word I was looking for.
The one that I focused on, I proposed a resolution entitled "Marriage for the Whole Church," B012.
Yeah.
That has been debated now, I think, in the House of Deputies, and the House of Bishops will debate it this afternoon. And the resolution that I proposed was for us to step back, allow the trial use rights that the church has been using since 2009 actually, and then the 2012 convention moved that forward, to continue to use those trial rights and authorize those trial rights, but then to step back and again not to just include them in the prayer book, which might have then changed the catechism. It may have changed our theology of marriage in that regard. But in this way, to allow the accommodation for same-gender marriage in places in states where it is allowed across the country, and at the same time then do a deeper, more thoughtful theological work on what does this mean for the church, and how are we going to move forward. My fear had been that we would, in a kind of cafeteria style, pick and choose different parts of the prayer book that we want changed, and then continually push those kinds of changes on the church, which I think may have resulted in the church getting torn apart.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I'm really grateful that my resolution has been taken really seriously, that it's been part of the good work of the church. And I will tell you just a little inside information. In the House of Bishops, the other accommodation was there are 8 dioceses headed by or served by 8 bishops that are called the Communion Partner Bishops, who are a bit more traditional
and conservative,
and more on the conservative side of the church. And what we hope to do in B012 was to make sure that those 8 bishops had the accommodation that they needed while the church moved forward, not just as a kind of tacit, we love you guys and you ought to be still part of the church, but engaging them in a dialogue. This is how can we move forward. Clearly, we're going to emerge theologically with a definition of marriage that includes a lifelong commitment between 2 people who vow permanence and fidelity moving forward.
Yes.
And what has happened in the House of Bishops is remarkable. Rather than fighting about it, rather than being angry with each other, we've had bishops praying together, we've had bishops working together, and we think that this afternoon we're going to be able to bring forward this resolution and have it pass with the agreement of all the bishops.
Amen.
So I am so excited about the opportunity that's before us, because that kind of reconciliation, unity, has really been the theme in this convention. We've just moved in all the right directions.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful. So tired, yes. But not cranky. I probably could use a little more barbecue, but I'm not supposed to be eating a lot of red meat anyway, so
Yeah.
I have to be careful.
It's terrible. You shouldn't do it, Bishop.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll take your advice. Yeah.
But
one of the other things, just for the gang at Christ Church, you should know that sitting across the room this time is Bishop David Jocelyn, who ever since my entrance into the House of Bishops, although he's been very active, we've never actually sat at a general convention in the same room.
Oh.
And so it's been kind of fun. You can imagine that there's a little bit of hijinks going on between all of us, and it's been fun to see him here and hear his voice in the house, and have him interacting with all the other bishops. And I told him that I was going to be meeting Father Sunil to make this video, and he said to say hi everybody at Christ Church Westerly.
Well, we'll be interviewing him too.
Oh,
Definitely.
great! So you'll get the real inside scoop, and he can report later on how our conversation goes on this resolution.
You know, one thing, Bishop, I just wanted to make sure, and I didn't communicate it to our people there, but and I've been talking to Bishop Knisley a bit too. There seems to be a movement. I mean, we're really very serious about the Jesus movement in our church, but there seems to be a unity of spirit within this church that you know, that I was scared about prayer provision too, because I thought that we're dealing with a whole bunch of larger issues, and we're really about making sure that the church is open to do the pastoral work that our country needs right now. And so I was worried about the prayer book revision conversation, because it would just seem to divide us in a country, in our country and world, which is divided in many ways.
Right.
And the church is supposed to be a place where, you know, be nice to have unity and move towards justice and hope for all people. And I think that's happening. I really do. I mean, maybe I'm being a little bit naive. I don't know, but maybe faithful.
No, actually, Sunil, I think you're right on. I think that one of the things that will come out of this convention now is that the church will be able to provide a place for not just unity, but a theological platform, a faithful theological platform for the people of God to stand in the midst of all of the crises that are floating around all of us. In a place, the last thing the people of God needed was for the church to come out of this convention looking more like the secular society.
Yes.
We are more and more looking like the church. It's very encouraging, because we're going to need this moving forward.
Amen. Yeah. Bishop Larry, thank you.
Thanks so much, Neil.
Yes.
And just know that if I can take this moment to thank all the people at Christ Church Westerly again for the warm welcome that you gave to Jean and I when we came to visit. And we've both made a commitment that it won't be the last time. It won't take another 33 years for us to come back and visit.
Yes, the invitation's always there. And, you know, not only that, I could call you secretary. We could schedule time.
Oh, great. There you go. That's right. The person who really runs my life. Thank you all so much. And Christ Church, know what a great and faithful pastor you have in Father Sunil, and know that he's a great addition to the House of Deputies, and it's always great to see him here. The enthusiasm and faithfulness that he brings to the conversation is really essential. So keep supporting this wonderful priest and his family.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll pay you
God
later,
bless.
Bishop.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thanks
Bishop.
so much.
God bless
Thanks.
you.
God bless.